Hello and welcome to episode 12 of the Livewire Gaming Show. We have a Dredgen with us this week, back from wherever he was. I also love how whenever I start doing the intro, Stephen gives a little smirk. I've noticed that every week, and now I'm finally commenting on it. So go watch back the rest of those videos.
It's because he's waiting for me to say something within that 10-second period.
Yeah, and he's like, "We made it! Yeah. We made it!"
I'll
anyway,
never forget
week two, fucking week 2,
longest 10 seconds of our lives,
times 7 times. Anyway, this week we are talking about our favorite boss encounters in video games. The Livewire guys doing a favorites video? Never. And we're also going to touch on the guns that we love from games past. Weapons, yeah. Not specifically guns. My bad, I nearly excluded all of my choices in one statement. How have we been this week? Dylan, you weren't here last week, so you can lead us away on how you get to fill that void.
Yeah, I've played a lot. I recently started Monster Hunter Rise on Switch, and every time I log in, I see my hours. I'm like, oh shit. I thought it was going to be one of those pick it up for 20 minutes, half an hour, do a hunt or two. Nah, it's like it's a black hole. It's such a good game, though. I'm so surprised at how well it performs on the Switch that it makes you want to keep playing for longer, which obviously is great.
I'm half tempted to go grab my Switch and check what your hours are at the moment.
It's not too high. It's just like, holy shit, where did that time go? You know, I think I'm
out the window.
Like 30 or so. But to me, that's like a full playthrough of a single player game.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, playing a lot of Monster Hunter, playing a lot of WoW during the day, and then playing Apex in the evenings. So nice rotation of very different games as well. I'm getting my I'm enjoying it.
So I know Stephen has gone and bought himself Monster Hunter Rise. So
peer pressure.
Yeah.
Peer pressure. So you gave a quick breakdown of you're enjoying it. What do you like about it? Give us the Dylan review.
It's
impressions.
A lot more forgiving than Monster Hunter World. So as someone who played Monster Hunter World solo, I felt so underpowered. I felt like the tree feints weren't enough on an expedition. It was like everything was just hitting 10 times harder. I was upgrading as I went. I just felt I was always trying to chase that level of being able to compete with whatever hunter rank I was at. Currently, I'm at hunter rank 6 in Rise, and like I can solo everything. And that feels so great. They introduced the new wire bug in this one. So this is basically like a swinging mechanic, or your kind of Spider-Man kind of aspect onto like midair, onto these wire bugs. But they do incorporate it into your combos, and there's a mechanic where if you get knocked down, you can basically use it to get out of dodge because you're going to get attacked straight away. And I play Sword and Shield, so that's a very fast in and out kind of get your quick hits, dodge out, get your quick hits, dodge back out kind of thing. And it just the whole fight is just made so much smoother and sleeker with the new wirebug system, which it's really good. So with that, you do unlock a lot early on in terms of materials. Like I did feel like in Monster Hunter World, I had to do the same fight 10 to 15 times to be able to gather the amount of materials needed to upgrade weapons and armor and stuff. Whereas this, it feels like I'll do it 2 or 3 times and then I'm good for the next big thing. But really enjoying it. I've been playing it solo and online as well. The online hunts are obviously a little bit harder because the scaling. But yeah, it's so good. I just literally want to play it all the time just because like each encounter is so different to the last one as well. Like the nature that they have and how they kind of approach you is so different with each species. So I'm loving it.
Very good.
And I'm only on like rank 6 and I have so much more to go. I haven't even finished it. Well, I finished the main story, but there's kind of like story plus added onto it. with the lore and all that. So
Got all the arch-tempered monsters as well then. And
yeah, the elder, not the elders, the fucking, I think they're called Apex monsters in this one.
That's
I
why
think
you
it's
like it
3
so much.
Apexes released. And there's an update coming out this month, the end of the month, introducing new monsters already. So yeah, and
they're very
because
good with that, actually. Yeah.
it's all free updates as well, which is great. But yeah, I'm loving it. So I'm gonna give my second build a run through this week. I'm gonna change over to dual blades. But yeah, for now, Sword and Shield main, it's great. I'm really enjoying it. I actually just want to play it now, but my Switch has been taken away from me. On Fort.
What have you been up
Yeah.
to, Stephen, over the last 7 days?
For the last 7 days, I played a little bit more of Oddworld,
Oh,
and it's ridiculously difficult. And I've noticed a lot of people on their Facebook page have given out about how difficult it is, particularly because there's a lot of bugs that really fuck with you.
A AAA title launch with bugs? Well, I never.
I wouldn't really call them AAA now. But no, I'm enjoying it. Like I want to keep going back and playing it, but it is difficult, so I need to kind of take a bit of time from it. Patch 5.5 dropped to Final Fantasy 14, so I started that on Tuesday. Played the first 2 missions, which are just story exposition, which is grand. And got peer pressured into buying Monster Hunter Rise. So
you're gonna have so much fun. We're gonna take on Goss Harag. You're gonna look like a little ice monster. It's gonna be great. And actually, the Palamute system as well. Didn't even touch on that. That's so good. So you have a dog now instead of just a Palico cat helping you out in fights. Online, you have to choose one or the other, but offline, you can choose both. Just obviously, when you damage a monster and they retreat back to their den or their nest, it feels like you're running around for ages. With this, you can literally jump on its back, sharpen on the way there, or eat on the way there, or do whatever. And it just takes out that whole shit. He's running. I'm going to have to stand here for a minute, sharpen up, eat my meds, and then chase him. Yeah.
I always hate that when you're in the middle of a fight and then you have to sharpen, and then you see the monster coming at you like, uh-oh.
I hate it. And that feels like it's a little bit quicker as well to sharpen. Same with mining and stuff like that. A lot of it does feel like it's tailored to, this is just to be done quickly. This isn't your main thing.
Yeah.
Speed. It's all about speed. It's really good.
Yeah. Other than that, then any excuse. This is like Kevin Cyberpunk.
It is.
That is.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Other than that, then I downloaded Sea of Thieves because I might be getting drafted in. I've been watching Etsky play Apex, and that's been giving me an itch to play it. But then I realized I'm not even 1/1,000th the player he is, so I just won't download that.
He's a crazy good. He's a crazy good player. It's silly how good Etsky is at Apex.
I'll play with you anytime, Stephen.
He makes it look so easy. That's the problem. That's what I hate. You see other players who are good, but you can see they're struggling, or you can see what they're going through. With him, it's just like, yeah, this is nothing. It's fine.
Yeah,
he
plays it like a PvE game. That's how good he is at it.
He's farming real life people as you.
Yeah, it's like the people he's against in his lobbies are ads in an encounter.
Yeah,
it's the definition of
he's frightening
picture
good.
The audience in your underwear, but just picture everyone else as being shit.
Yeah, he's frightening good.
Other than that, then I haven't really been up to much else. Just life. What about you, Kev? How have you been getting on?
Just life. I've not really played a whole lot this week. My
amateurs.
I'm exhausted this week. We're getting the back garden done this week, so that work starts early in the morning, so I'm fairly tired, so getting up and sitting in front of the PC isn't really what I fancy doing, because I'm just exhausted. So my gaming this week has been Dynamax Adventure, sitting on the sofa relaxing, because I finally got my Lunala shiny after several months. Fucking time. But yeah, I'm tired as well because WrestleMania was on the weekend and I watched both nights of that because I'm clearly hate myself. But it was enjoyable.
Was it any good?
Night 1 was better than Night 2.
Had they always had 2 nights? Or was that a
No,
new
this
thing?
is a new thing they've started doing
I was thinking that, yeah.
in the last couple of years, but it's like 3 hours, 20 minutes both nights. So
Jesus.
it's long. It was enjoyable enough. Like it is what it is. Some of the payoffs were shit. Some of them were like, you just really did that. But there was also some surprises, so it was all right. Like I'm not gonna say, oh, it was amazing, because it's not. It never is. But it was enjoyable.
Big cheese fest.
Big, yeah. It's not even real. It's all scripted. But yeah, no.
So was life.
So is life. I haven't played a whole lot of games this week, so. But the back garden's nearly done. Hopefully, I don't think it'll be done by tomorrow. I think it'll be Monday before they get. I think it'll take an extra day. Well, yeah, it looks so much better than I did a week ago. So excited for that to be finished, and then put the barbecue back together, and it's basically summer.
Have that
then,
one
isn't
day
it?
of virus summer.
Yeah, that one day. It must be close. We had Christmas last week because it was so cold and snowy. So we must be getting close to a summer's day.
Well, the leaving cert's going ahead this year, so we might get our.
Oh,
leaving cert
great!
ready.
We get 2 really nice weeks then. Class.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I've not really done a whole lot. Watched a lot of YouTube videos. I think over the last week. I found this really nice video. It's like 8.5 hours long. That's just gaming soundtracks. Like,
Oh, yeah.
and it's just like it's not actually just
someone
gaming
doing Lunala
soundtracks.
over and over
Yeah.
again.
It's not actually gaming sound. It's just all like soundtracks. So it's movies and TV as well. So they'd play like 3 or 4 minutes of, say, I don't know, Lord of the Rings, and then it jumps over to some Zelda soundtrack, and then something else. Yeah, I've been enjoying it. It's like, I love this song, and then you get 4 songs you don't recognize. I love this one. So yeah, it's all right, fun. So yeah, that's me. Boring week. Very
What you need
boring
to do
week.
is you need to download WoW, and you both need to play it with me during the day.
Oh,
It hasn't been. See, it hasn't been like that at all. I've just been too tired to
Yeah.
sit myself in front of the PC. Really, I've just been
Yeah.
wrecked, so I just haven't had any desire to do anything.
Yeah, I've noticed you
Getting
haven't been
old.
toxic to me on the phone all week, so that was a sign you're
Yeah,
tired.
no, I had a bad day in work on Tuesday, and I wanted to talk to nobody. I was fuming on Tuesday. Like it got so bad, Louise. Like I'm just gonna leave the room because you're annoying me. It's just
One of those days.
one of those days. But it's all right. It's all right. They happen. So, shall we move on to our main topic of our favorite boss encounters from the history of gaming? I think because Dylan wasn't here last week that he should probably start us
I always
off.
have to
Go
go
last.
first.
Yeah, I think he should go first because they anyone who listened spent 2 hours listening to me and Stephen last week, so a different voice would be nice. That's what I'm going with anyway. And plus, you're not going to steal one of my ones because I know
That
you
is
won't.
very true.
And
You
if
guys
he-
are gonna be like in competition.
If Stephen goes first,
Yeah.
there's a chance he'll take one of the ones that I'm going.
I'm
so.
going second, so yeah.
That's what I was gonna say. If
I'm
one of
easy.
you wanted to go, and
Yeah,
then
I'm
I'd go
easy.
in the middle, so the other one can Google new ones for when you take their idea.
I've got 2 down.
You assume I've only got 3. Come on, Dale.
I stick to top 3. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it. So for my first one, I went with. So when I think of boss fights, I always think of the end of games. So I went the opposite, and I picked the start of a game, and that was the boss fight. Well, the Baldur Kratos fight in God of War. I really
Yeah.
enjoyed that.
That's a really good fight, actually. I didn't think of
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
I went back and rewatched the cinematic this week
Mm.
because of it, just to kind of rejig the experience. But yeah, that boss fight, because like Kratos is obviously not retired, but he's raising his son in the middle of nowhere on
Oi.
Midgard, and then this stranger. I think he's actually called the stranger in it as well.
Yeah,
at the
yeah.
start. Just turns up to his door, starts demanding to fucking fight, and then I think
That
it
they
was-
kick the shit out of each other.
That's the thing. I think Kratos hits him, and he's like, "Oh shit," because obviously he's fucking his godly powers, and then Baldur is like, "Lovely," and then just fucking punches him through the mountain or something like that. But that just kind of sets the stage for, holy shit, here's another fucking demigod or whatever. So yeah, the whole fight, like even rewatching it, I was like, I didn't realize how much like the landscape changes throughout the fight,
Mm.
like done in different stages. The
Yeah.
fucking ground rips open and everything like that, and then they're just in fucking pools of blood at the end of it. It's so gory.
That's something that God of War does really well, actually. And it was something that I was thinking about today when I was thinking of this, is about boss encounters or boss fights, that God of War always does really good opening boss fights. Like, I think it was God of War 3. Sorry if I'm stealing one of yours here, Stephen. This isn't one of my choices. But like the start of God of War 3, you fight Poseidon at the very beginning of the game, and you kick the living shit out of him. And then it's kind of sets the tone of what's to come of you going around just killing the whole pantheon of Greek gods. But like, I can't remember the first boss fights of God of War 1 or 2, but I remember God of War 2 at least has a really good opening boss fight as well. It's something that Sony Santa Monica are actually, they really, it starts the game off on a high.
It sets a good tone as well for if this is a huge thing that we're doing at the very start, you can imagine what it builds up to then.
Yeah. Oh yeah, it sets the tone.
Yeah,
And
that's
yeah,
a really good fight. Yeah,
I
forgot
really
about
did
that.
enjoy that. Yeah,
I found it really hard. I was going through God of War, and I found it really hard to pick one fight from that I could say was my favorite.
Would you
of them all.
separate it though? Like, are you talking about God of War 2016 or all of God of War games?
No, 20, I'll
Okay,
hold my
just
hand up and say I wasn't into God of War at
Okay.
all. But God of War 2016, 18, whatever it was,
20, whatever it was. Yeah,
Um,
my bad.
it took me a whole year to get into it. But I remember that start encounter being like, holy shit, this is awesome.
yeah.
It is.
And then they all just kick off from there. Like the one with is it Magni and Modi?
Yes, the two brothers.
Like just after that, like, and the Valkyries, they're
The
insane.
Valkyries.
every Valkyrie fight.
So
are
silly.
fucking- Yeah,
Oh,
and then even when I can't remember who you're fighting, it's Thor's two other sons. Thor's
Magni
two
and
sons.
Modi, yeah.
Oh, is that Mike? Sorry. Yeah, that whole fight was really, really good.
Yeah.
I remember being on 1 HP for like 3/4 of that whole thing, shitting myself. That was definitely a game where I lowered the difficulty at some stages. Not gonna lie.
Give me
Even-
God of War, boy.
Yeah, no, that was
Well,
that was
going-
one I think that just was really always like
That's a great
whenever
one.
I think of a list, it's a memorable one.
Yeah, it's a really good one.
Next
Going
up,
back, hold on, before we move on from God of War, though, because I'm assuming, Stephen, you've none in yours. And I've none in mine, but it's an honorable mention. More than anything. No, you don't. So,
No.
it's in God of War 2, I think. It might be 3, but I hope I'm not wrong. I think it's 2. But it's the Kronos fight, if you know about that.
is that the one
Yeah,
where he's
yeah.
like triple the size of fucking
And
He's
the
a
rest.
rogue size,
And the rest. Like 300 times the size. But yeah, in the Kronos fight's great because it doubled. This isn't one of my choices, by the way. It's an honorable mention. Just putting it out there. So it doubles as like it's a level. It's a living level that you're scaling Kronos because he's the biggest thing in all of
it's
Greek
like
mythology.
Galactus.
And you're doing the whole platforming part of God of War before it went over the shoulder. You're climbing up, and then you fight some enemies in an arena, and you go inside. You do a puzzle, you make your way up a bit more, and you keep climbing. And then eventually, the payoff is the quick time event at the very end, where you actually kill Kronos, and it's a fairly gruesome way that you kill him. So it's a spectacular fight, though.
How
I
does he
think
kill
there's
him again?
scale.
Does he... That's the one, yeah.
Straight through the forehead. But yeah,
Yeah.
no, the Kronos fight is one of the most memorable PS2 era boss fights. I think it's definitely iconic. But yeah, God of War is. I don't know if there's any bad boss fights in God of War. It's just
No.
there's boss fights and then there's boss fights. Yeah. So yeah,
That's a good one.
boy,
Good one to start with.
it was
So Stephen,
quite
you're up
literally,
next.
quite literally. Started with at
Yeah.
the start of the game.
Give
Dill
us
Dill
how
Santa
groundbreaking. Huh?
Dill Santa Monica at the chat.
Give us your 1997 onwards favorite boss fight.
Well, I'm getting this one in early because I'm not sure. I say Kev might have had this one, but I don't. No, actually, I don't think he would. I think you could have had this one, Dill.
Oh,
So my favorite boss encounter is the only one I could think of on my list that was actually an encounter, and it was Aetion from the Vault of Glass.
well, I hope you
And-
remember the mechanics because you're doing it in a month.
Oh, I'd happily do that. I loved that was my first ever raid, and I just loved the whole going through to Mars or Venus, killing the supplicants, coming back out.
But you
If you're the
don't
shield
throw
bearer-
grenades on Mars.
Oh yeah, the feckin'
Hot.
Minotaur dude. Oh,
That's where they just literally fucking yeeted you, wasn't it?
the but like my role, I used to be the shield the shield carrier, and I just loved that feeling of holding the shield and it coming up, and you had like your bubble and everyone just shooting, and you're like, this is fucking amazing. Running in, getting the shield, kicking the shit out of everything, coming out, powering everyone up to shoot at Aetion, and it was just, I just remember
Powerful.
feeling, not even that, but it feeling like an actual encounter, like not just a boss fight where you go in and cheese something or you just shoot it until it dies. It's like you had to do something to activate the DPS phase, but you could still technically shoot it and do a little bit of damage, but it did nothing. So you weren't like immune or damage gated, but you had to figure out how to work it. And it was just, I don't know what it was about. Maybe it's nostalgia for the first one.
It's everything. It is a great boss encounter, in fairness.
But it
And,
was
and
just,
the vault of glass is a beautiful play space.
yeah.
Like that pyramid triangle, it's quite nice.
And even the feeling of descending down all the time, that you're not, it's not just a plane, you're descending.
That's I'm bringing up this damn podcast again that Luke Smith spoke on about 6 years ago. But when they design a raid, they have an overall theme for the raid, and the theme for Vault of Glass is descending in.
But it adds more to the feeling of pressure. I think, seeing like you're diving into this area. It's not just like, oh shit, this is too hard, we have to turn around. Like you're literally, it's a no turn back.
So on it's something that I'm kind of sad they've actually gone away from in Destiny raids. Is I think they went too far with it in Crota's End with the sword, but it's the relics. Having the relics. So like you had it on. I think they got it right in VoG. It was fine because you weren't a hero using the relic, or it wasn't you didn't have that superhero moment just because you eyed the relic. I'm the main man. If I can't do this, we die. You're basically fucking Frodo with the ring. But I think in VoG and in then Kingsfall on Oryx that you had the relic. I think using the relic to improve the mechanic of the fight is the way. I'm kind of sad they've gone away from that because they don't really do it anymore.
Yeah, and it does, like, whatever the relic is ties into the story of it as well, which is really cool.
What I like about
Kingsfall,
it is
did
though,
you use a relic when you were going
invisible? So the person who climbs the platforms grabs a relic, and then they use
I wasn't
that
sure
relic.
if that was
They
just
use
a-
that relic to protect the team. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe they Bungie kind of went. It's kind of silly that these big, powerful bosses give them something to use against them.
I'd always think that in boss, like, especially
It's like, why are you helping
raid
us?
encounters, it's like, why are you standing there? Like, you could just literally end us right now. Why are you waiting for us to do like all these little things to activate the DPS and stuff like that?
But I think in VoG anyway, like there was the whole discussion around Caber and how that he left that shield there for you to take down Aetion. That like this was a team who had gone before you and was unsuccessful, and only going through numerous time loops, they actually eventually come away with this is how we can do it, and becomes the shield itself that you use to take down Aetion and the Templar. And it's just when that happens, so like when the relic has a purpose and ties into the narrative. I think it's really, really powerful. When it's just something you pick up, you're like, okay, why does Orcs have, you know, the thing that'll kill them just sitting there?
Yeah.
They Doctor Stranged the shit out of it.
So it was something I actually stumbled across the other day. It's a theory that there's like a friendly harpy. So if there's a harpy on Europa that isn't an enemy harpy, it's a friendly one. And the theory is that Praedyth has actually sent this harpy to draw us back to the Vault of Glass. And when we finish the Vault of Glass this time, Praedyth will be freed from it, basically. Because Praedyth's
New
still
Hunter
trapped.
Vanguard.
No. Praedyth's dead. But it'll free him, his soul, basically, from the Vault of Glass.
We won't do a Saint 14 on it now.
No. Well, Saint 14 is gonna die anyway at some point. So do you remember when we went back and we found it's a fringe event. But remember we found Saint 14's final resting place where he fought off the Vex and they eventually. So that happens in his future, which happens in the past. So we have pulled Saint 14 from before his death to the present. But at some point, I could be wrong, and some Destiny fan is going to be giving out to me for saying this, but at some point, he's going to go back into the past and then eventually die. Apparently. I could be wrong in saying that. As Dale said, I hate time.
So confusing.
Yeah. But I'm pretty sure that's it. Yeah, no, it's interesting. It's definitely, yeah. It was a great raid encounter, great boss fight, and it was the first one. So, but what was great about the relic though, you didn't have to use it as the defensive bubble. You could use it to do damage to Atheon.
Yeah,
but it was just better DPS to use it as the bubble, and everyone like blast the hell out of them.
Yeah,
everyone with their icebreakers or Galahorns if you had them,
shooting people in the back.
The Gahallarhorn.
What's first on your list, Kev?
I'm gonna get my Final Fantasy one out of the way because I know Steven's not gonna have this. I wouldn't think he'd have it.
Steven I have not have something Final Fantasy.
Not this particular one. So I like this one because when I did my hard playthrough of the remake, this guy kicked my ass. It was the only boss fight that actually kicked my ass, and it's Rufus. It's Rufus and his Doge.
Oh,
I won't go into it too much, but it's Rufus and his doggo, and it's on hard mode anyway. It's a difficult fight because he's really fucking hard to stagger, and he does a lot of damage, and it's just pain. It's just pain. Yeah, I really enjoyed that boss fight.
And you're fighting your own, so a lot of your support is gone.
So it's just Cloud against Rufus, and I can't think of what the dog's name's called, but
Dark Hound.
Dark something, yeah. It's not Dark Hound, it's Dark something. It's not Dark Side either before Dill gets into it.
With a name like that, you're obviously gonna be fucking evil. You could have just called it Junior or something. It would have turned out a little bit better. Fucking dark.
The name of his dog is Darkstar. Yeah. You got half of it, Steve. But yeah, no, like the dog is a pain. But yeah, it's a very difficult boss fight.
That'll be done on easy mode, thank you very much.
On normal it's not so on normal it's not so bad because you're going in with full health, but I'm not sure where the most recent resting point is. It's just difficult on hard mode, especially. I was stuck between that boss fight and I can't think of the name of the boss. I'm fucking crap at boss fight names. But you know, the guy with horse and carriage.
Oh, I know you're on about, but he's in the train graveyard.
In the train graveyard, yeah. Like on hard mode as well, that boss fight was rough. But no, Rufus just... I actually remember like fighting Rufus on stream. I was like, you know what? I'm just going to go health ladder on the fucking dog. I'm going to just make sure... And I don't care how much health I end up with. I'm killing that damn dog. And then I can focus on Rufus. And that didn't work either because he's got the gun attack that just crazy damage. Yeah, it's pain. It's just pain.
Yeah.
But there's lots of boss fights in the remake that I could have pulled, but that's the one that stood out to me as I really liked. Like I love the both Reno boss fights are also excellent as well, especially the one in the church. Is that the Reno boss fight in the church is the first one where you're kind of like, oh, this is a level playing field because I'm against an actual human.
But not only that, I think it's the first time they actually check your skill with blocking and stuff. It's like, okay, if you haven't learned how to block by now, you're gonna have a hard time.
But on the flip of that, if you have learned how to block and how to do stuff, it's a very easy fight. All you just put it in Punisher mode and off you go. You're done. Yeah, and he's a sassy bitch.
Yeah,
but there's loads in there. Like there's the
summons, all the summon fights.
Yeah. Do you know what? I was gonna say that the one that gets you the Gotterdammerung, where you fight all the summons back to back. I was gonna say that, but that was kind of cheating. And that's not my favorite boss encounter because I fucking hated every minute of it because it's so difficult. It's so hard.
Have you seen the one where they cleared that in like under 2 minutes?
Yeah. Like my tactic for doing that was so I get the boss down as much as possible and then get everyone's abilities up and then just spam heals and then get an easy kill on the summon. So I was going into the next fight with as much health as possible. They were so hard. But the other one was hard as well. The what's it called? The big robot.
Oh yeah, the Cloud Buster type thing.
Yeah. In the AO.
Proto something.
Yeah, I can't think of it. I'm tired. But yeah, Rufus is probably my favorite boss fight in that.
I'll let you
even
know
though
when
you
I
hate
get
him.
To him. He kicked my ass, but it was the one where when I finished it, I was like, yes, I got it.
Yeah,
because like for a lot of people, the feeling of relief is when they beat Hell House on hard. But I found Hell House. I'm sorry to anybody who's gonna be annoyed by this comment. I found Hell House really straightforward, but that's just me. Like the hard part of Hell House on hard was when it summons the two mechs in, and once you deal with them, it's fine. But yeah, anyway,
trying to remember all this information for when I eventually finish my playthrough.
I can't wait to play it again. I can't wait to do a full playthrough with the updated
on PS5.
On PS5 with the updated FPS. Actually, this should have been included in the news, but it wasn't because I forgot. The year of exclusivity has now passed, so there's nothing holding Square back from announcing a PC release. I'm not saying it's going to happen anytime soon, but the exclusivity part of that deal is now over. So
Game Pass, here we go.
Baby. Game Pass. Well, it has to come to Xbox first.
Yeah.
It will eventually. It's just I don't know when. Maybe after what's it called? Intergrade comes out. I was like, that's not Renegade. Yeah, well, maybe after Intergrade comes out, we might get some sort of announcement on what's next.
Yeah, I'd say so.
I mean, personally, I'd be much happier with Part 2 than a PC port, but that's because I'm selfish.
No, not selfish at all.
Moving on.
Also,
Rufus looks like Fernando Torres. End of comment.
I'll know it straight away.
Send tweet.
Yeah. I said a shit. I was like, I'm fighting Fernando Torres.
Second on my list, I have not old, but not a recent one. It is from Arkham Asylum, and it is the Joker fight at the end.
Is that the one where you fight him all souped up?
juiced up. Yeah, he takes his. I can't remember the name of the serum, but he takes whatever he's trying to kind of build his army
It's
with.
Venom, isn't it?
It's Venom,
yeah,
yeah.
Venom. Yeah.
My name is Barry.
That's at first I thought it was a Bane, but then Joker. Yeah, I don't know what it was. I know I was looking back on it as well this week, and it's just a generic.
That was a great game. Holy shit!
Generic boss fight where you're fighting your mobs, you do your damage to the boss, you're fighting more mobs, and back to the boss. But I think it was, like you said earlier on, Stephen, the story that ties more into it. That you're taking down this kind of newly built empire of him taking over the asylum and stuff like that.
What a game.
Yeah, I really enjoyed that.
I think even the idea of actually getting into a fist fight with the Joker is good, because generally that doesn't happen in the comics. You know, the Joker's an unintimidating person physically, so to have him literally just be like, he's like, I could just step on your neck and kill you.
Yeah, and he looked fucking horrible as well. Like, it was proper, like, Doomsday looking horrible.
But even without the Venom, the Arkham game Joker is like, if you woke up and saw him in your bedroom looking at you, you'd fucking shit yourself to death. Like, he's so creepy looking.
His design is like that.
Like, it's just that long face and the pointed chin. And like the big grin. Yeah, he's really creepy. And by the way, he's voiced so well in Arkham.
Yeah. Mark Hamill just does the Joker's voice. If they ever do a live action Joker, I don't care who it is, just make Mark Hamill do the voice.
Just dub it. Just dub it.
Yeah.
I mean, by the way, if they ever do a live action Joker
again,
Stephen,
Joker.
Yeah.
I meant Arkham.
Oh, yeah. I was like, they kind of just did that, and Joaquin Phoenix was an absolute wonder in it.
Yeah,
I think Mark Hamill's kind of voice acting just carries the kind of comic side to it, and that kind of high pitched, like animated kind of feel to it, rather than like if you saw that in a live action, it probably wouldn't carry as well. Maybe.
Well, actually, you say that, but if you've ever watched The Flash, they have an episode in it with the Trickster, which is essentially the Joker. But it was Mark Hamill. It was, and he did really well. Obviously now he's showing his age and he can't do the physical stuff as well. But geez, watching I was like, but watching I was like, Jesus, this would be great to have him as a live action Joker.
Isn't it kind of wild that Mark Hamill has the word Arkham in the middle of his name, though? Like, it's literally right there. Mark Hamill, Markham. Arkham.
I got it, but it was just like
it's like he was meant to play that role. He was meant to be that iconic role. Like, it was meant to be. It's crazy.
The Arkham games had some amazing was Asylum the one with the Mr. Freeze fight deal?
No, and that's an honorable mention of mine, Stephen. I don't know if it's on yours.
No, it's not, but
it's not.
It is now.
Yeah, no. The Mr. Freeze was in Arkham City.
Wasn't it?
Oh,
so that's an excellent boss fight, because you can't just go to, like Dill said, like you're saying, like getting into a fist fight with Joker is great. You can't do that with the Freeze fight because you can't hurt him. So you have to figure out have to figure out ways to basically flinch him to do some damage, but you can only do each way once. Yeah. So you can do a stealth kill on him and do some damage, but then if you try to do another stealth kill, he'll know you're trying to do. And then there's a split fuse on the floor that you can electrocute him in. There's like is it a vent that fire can come out of and distract and flinch him that way. But you can't also just hide in the corner of the room because he's got these drones that are trying to find you. It's like if Batman fought the Xenomorph from Alien Isolation. And that's what it was like with Freeze. So you had to figure out different ways to fight back against them. Yeah, that's an amazing boss fight,
Yeah.
and I'm glad you brought it up.
But I really liked it. I don't know if I like the Joker fight per se, but I do. I definitely like the story, and I like that continues then into Arkham City. Or yeah, they did a really good job with that.
They did.
It's a nice choice still. I like it.
I still
Thanks.
prefer Asylum to City though. I think Asylum's the better game.
Yeah, like the original one that like we got that kind of fighting style for Batman as well, which like every kind of small mob fight was great because just the combos you pull off and you're fighting the way you feel Batman should.
Mm-hmm.
It's really cool.
Yeah.
And I love how they just implemented that into the Batman Superman movie as well. That's the style of fighting that we see.
Square, triangle, square.
Batarang.
Better.
So Stephen, take us
My
away with
turn
your
now,
second one.
I'm gonna go with one that I know, Kev. Not that he has this one on his list. I don't think you have this one on your list, but you definitely have this series on the list.
Oh, without a doubt.
And my favorite Soulsborne boss is Gwyn. And it's not to do with that he's a hard fight, because I learned how to parry. So if you can learn how to parry, you can bitch him around in like 4 hits. It's amazing. But it's the arena leading up to it. You go into like the burned throne room where he lit the first flame, and you've got all of his knights that are burnt and hollowed away, and you're running down and you come in to the killing of the first flame. And as you come in, this beautiful piano just kicks in, and you just see what you would have seen before was this, fantastical lord, typical kind of Nordic god. And you walk in, and what you're greeted to is this hollowed out, fleshless, hairy person that just doesn't look like what you think he is. And you've no time to react. Like, as soon as you walk in, the piano plays, he comes at you. And it's just this fight for, do you relight the first flame, or do you let it go out and bring in the new Dark Age? And it's such an amazing way to end Dark Souls, that you fight the person who started the cycle, but that he's not this fantastical demon or huge boss that you've kind of fought before. He's just a person who has hollowed out the way you probably are. And it's just accompanied by such an amazing soundtrack, and the area leading up to it as well. And it's just,
for those not knowledgeable, what Dark Souls is that from?
Dark Souls 1. Yeah. Sorry, the original.
The OG.
Wait, there's more than one Dark Souls?
There's 3.
What am I missing?
I think I have it there.
It's the only thing I know about them.
Not just 3 of them.
Yeah.
Right there. You can see it. You can see the big bold writing right here about here.
Oh yeah, I see it there actually. Yeah.
Yeah.
Tree down from Modern Warfare 2. I can see that as
Tree
well.
down from Modern Warfare 2.
You guys have great eyesight. I can't see shit.
Are those my feet? Yeah, so I don't have a Dark Soul. I'm assuming you're done, Stephen. I've nothing to add. You said everything that needs to be said. I've nothing to add, and Dill doesn't play Dark Souls. So, Yet. I mean, if they remaster it the way they did, or remake it the way they did Demon Souls.
I mean, it has been remade.
I know, but not in the same way as Demon Souls was. Like,
True.
Anyway, do I go Sekiro first, or do I go Bloodborne first? That's the question.
Oh,
is it ape fight from Sekiro? It's the only fight I know. All right, that's my contribution. Gone.
I think
I'll let you
know
pick
what your Sekiro one is.
Okay. So I'll go at my Bloodborne fight so that you can have a Sekiro one. So when I was looking at my Sekiro and Bloodborne, I did some cheating. I went on YouTube and watched all the boss fights for each of them to re-jog my memory of which ones I liked the most. On Bloodborne, I wound it down to 2 boss fights that I liked best, and I'm gonna go with the one from the DLC. I think was it the Old Hunters DLC, and it's because he's a son of a bitch. Ludwig the Accursed.
Yes.
So Ludwig was the first of the healers. I don't know the full backstory of it, but he's like a knight on horseback, but 20 stories tall and ugly and broken and dripping toxic waste everywhere. And then after the first half of the boss fight, he, like in a lot of Soulsborne fights, he changes up and he has this big sword, which is called the Holy Blade, if I'm not wrong. And he's so difficult, and he's got so many ways to just make your health disappear. He's got the one-shot ability with the sword. He has the other move where he jumps up onto the roof, and it's the only way to really dodge it is run. It's just it's such a difficult boss fight, but it's the real one in Bloodborne for me. That when I finished it, I was like, yes, I beat the fucker. Because it was I struggled with that one. It was a long time ago when I struggled in that through the FPS.
Yeah.
But the Lord of him, basically, he is the first of many healing church hunters. Many of whom were clerics. And then the clerics were transformed into these hideous beasts. And he was the first of them. But he's just so difficult. Like, just thinking back, it was a difficult fight.
I love the scene where you get him down from the first phase, and
yes, there's a cutscene in the middle of the fucking fight. Yeah,
he's like losing his shit, and he's lying on the ground, and like he's screaming awful bloody murder, and he's on the ground, and he looks up, and the way they did it, I never noticed it in the boss fight because you don't have fucking time to look at him, but his face kind of has 2 sides to it.
Yes,
and
he has.
When he picks up his sword, he moves to his knight side, so you see like a more human-like face compared to the horse-like face you're so used to seeing, and you're like, oh, holy shit. And then he becomes more human in his attacks and less horse-like, and he becomes a little bit more predictable, but then he's fucking just throwing moonlight blades at you, and he's awful.
He's got that massive AoE attack as well.
Yeah,
I think that's the one-shot ability. If he hits you clean with that, you're fucked. And Dill's never gonna play Soulsborne.
I mean,
but yeah,
you guys don't sell it to me.
He's got that, like you were saying, Stephen. He's got that kind of half human, half horse face, and he's very ugly looking. Very.
I think with those kind of games, I'd like the story.
Do you know what the thing with
but I just wouldn't like
Bloodborne anyway? Like Sekiro, you can, but with Bloodborne, you can play most of Bloodborne co-op. So it's a case of if you're struggling, like there's some parts where you have to spawn in solo and make your way a little bit through the level, like in say Monster Hunter, but you can actually play it co-op, and you can summon up to 4 people for boss fights. I think it is.
Okay.
I don't know about Bloodborne, but
I think it's up to 4 people in Bloodborne you can summon to help with boss fights. So like you can't.
So what you're saying is when it gets remastered, we'll play it.
Oh yeah, I could if it was if it was 60 FPS, I'd absolutely play through it again. But it's capped at 30, and it's really bad 30. Do you have a Bloodborne one on your list, Stephen?
Do I have a Bloodborne one? I actually don't.
Okay, so the other one. Sorry,
just because you mentioned Monster Hunter, and if we're keeping on with, I have to mention something about Monster Hunter. Monster Hunter gets
2 seconds before you move on to your next boss fight, which I know you're starting to do.
It's not.
Okay, sorry, go on.
It's as soon as you said it, it's co-op. So
Yeah.
in Monster Hunter World, Stephen, you know that when you fight a monster for the first time, you have to fight it by yourself. You don't have to do that in Rise. You can,
Oh,
you can discover it for the first time with a group, which that kind of inclusiveness really, really made it for me as
There's
well.
a lot of really good, cute quality of life improvements. in
Yeah,
that, it
and
seems.
it's one of
A lot
those, you know, when you try
quality
to
of
think
life
about all
improvements.
of them, I can't think of it, but as soon as it comes up in
That's really
context,
good.
that's one of the big
Yeah.
ones because
Mm.
I used to,
that was a pain in the hole.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah. and I think when I started playing it on PS4, I was playing it with the old clan guys, and they had to wait for me to do it first to be able to do it,
Yeah.
which was fucking horrible.
Yeah.
Horrible, but yeah.
It's just
That's-
to touch
that's
on it
another
quickly.
Segment of my
Just
Monster Hunter.
another Monster Hunter tangent. The other one that I had on my list was one I sent you the other day, Stephen, and it's the Mother Logarius fight.
Oh, really?
I just
Oh,
really
that's
enjoyed that boss fight because you're on the roof of I think it's a church or whatever. You're on the roof of a church fighting,
Healing Church, yeah.
and it's snow's falling everywhere, and it's one of those that once you know how to do it, it's fairly straightforward. The secret is just get in the fucker's face. Just don't be literally get in his face and stay slightly to his right, because then the skulls don't hit you, and he doesn't have the ranged attack on you. But yeah, I just really enjoyed that boss fight. It's something about
Okay.
fighting human-like figures that are super powerful. I enjoy that for whatever reason. Anyway, moving on.
Still, number 3.
It wouldn't be a list of boss fights without putting a Destiny raid boss in here. Just because we're technically a Destiny fucking
Podcast.
yeah. And I spelled
better
this
not
as
be.
in density. So that's
Density.
always a
I
problem.
love me some density.
My boss fight was Argos.
Oh,
Interesting.
Yeah, thinking of the boss fights, it was always the one that I really enjoyed doing, but I wish it was in a better raid, because just that encounter, the whole charging up to take down his shield. When you take down his shield, you have to do the fucking. It's not just your stand there, shoot damage phase. Like, you still have to deal with ads, and you're dealing with the harpies, and then you're dealing with the kidnapping mechanic, where you have to basically keep watch for who gets taken, and then
And the
shoot them down.
exploders.
And then and on top of that, the climbing up to shoot his crit spots as well. Like, it's a very kind of movement based kind of encounter, which I really liked. Having to call out which kind of sides you need charges on and which sides are ready, and I just really liked the flow of the encounter. It wasn't the whole do your unlocking mechanic, wait a minute, and then DPS starts. It was constant. There was always something to do.
Yeah, it was very good. There was a lot of movement
Hmm.
between the different, so you had the void side, arc side, and solar side, and there was movement between the three sides, which was always good. Which is good. It's not just stand here, shoot that.
Exactly, and I like the scale of them as well. I do like when big boss fights, like significant bosses, are very large. It kind of gives it that whole kind of overpowering kind of shit. We have to actually work together to do this.
I'm just laughing at a video I saw today. A guy was doing his favorite 10 boss fights of the PS3 era, and it was literally, I just like big boss fights. He's like, I just like them when they're big.
But yeah, I don't know what it is, but and I think the whole climbing them, like jumping up on the platforms,
Yeah.
that just kind of adds to it, because you're never really up in his face. You're back on the platforms on whatever side, but then when you're up, you're like, holy shit, it feels like kind of more overpowering. But
There's kind of good lore behind that fight as well. I could be wrong again, and someone will correct me if I'm wrong, but basically he got sucked up by the vacuum that was the Eater of Worlds. Like, they were sucking.
I thought he was the Eater of Worlds.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe they used him to suck it up then. I don't know. Anyway.
They're all sucking.
Bike, will you let us know in the comments? Thanks.
Yeah, thanks. Bye. Appreciate you. Love you, fam.
Yeah, that's if that was
interesting
injected in a different raid, I think it would have been so much better received and rated, because I just love that encounter.
How do you feel about an encounter like that, but as a strike boss?
I don't like strikes.
They kind of had that before. Kind of in
Mhm.
Destiny 1, the Echo Chamber. The Echo Chamber is the one that's the most similar to it, maybe. It's pick up the charge and carry it to the bin to take down the shield. So it's kind of similar, I guess.
See, I'd like strikes to be turned into kind of mini raid bosses or whatever, but at the same time,
Have I introduced you to
They're
my friend
supposed to be-
Grandmaster?
I don't like Grandmasters at all.
Yeah.
But they're supposed to be accessible and in a playlist where you can just jump in and do it if you're a serial killer who likes doing that for hours on end. But at the same time, if you have someone who doesn't know to deposit something into another thing, is that detrimental to you actually completing that strike, you know? But yeah. I do feel like the raid layers were kind of like toned down
Mm.
from as being raids and more towards strikes or dungeons now.
I feel like Dungeons struck a nice balance between
Yeah.
the two.
Yeah.
Especially being 3-man as well
Mm,
and solo.
and you can be solo them
Mm.
if you're a decent player.
But without it being just a big damage gate and everything's just
Yeah.
going to hit you like a truck, like
Bye, Stephen.
Grandmasters.
Right.
Yeah. Grandmaster repeated the strike this week, so I was like, yes, I'm not doing it.
Nice.
Yeah, so-
Oh, it's
They're
all
all of it.
rotation.
yeah,
Yeah.
they messed up the rotation. It was
Okay.
supposed to be Warden and Nothing this week, but for some reason it was Proving Grounds again. But they're all 6 are available from next Tuesday, so. And hopefully it's only Palindrome that drops, because I will be farming the hell out of Grandmaster Sepix Prime if it is, because it's so straightforward. They might do a thing where all 3 drops are available, seeing as all 6 strikes are available, but we'll see what they do.
Yeah.
We will see what they do.
But yeah, that was my top 3 boss encounters. I have honorable mentions, like the Death Stranding fight at the end. It's on par with the Last of Us 2 ending fight as well, where it's not. I don't want to spoil
If
it.
you
It's
want to
not a
speak, if you want to speak about Last of Us 2 boss fight, I can go for a quick week.
No, I'm not going to say anything. It's just, it's not so much the fight.
Maybe I just want
It's
to pee.
what happens
Yeah.
in the build up. It's why you're doing what you're doing type thing. I think that it just carries more with the narrative rather than what you're actually doing. Like in Death Stranding, it's literally a fist fight, and it looks like you're standing there in fucking Tekken. You're just literally waiting for your turn to land your crit. But it's the build up to that. Like you take down the big bad BT and stuff like that, and then it's the human that's left.
Don't know about you. I just spammed left triangle circle in Tekken.
Haven't played Tekken in years.
No,
But yeah, I have a
Sounds like Eddie
few
Gordo.
that are.
No, it was Paul.
Oh no.
The power up fist,
Yeah.
whatever
Yeah.
whatever it's called. It may not have been left triangle circle, but I think it was.
And Ghost of Tsushima as well. That was another really good boss fight. I don't want to say because it is part of the whole story.
Mm.
Yeah, I haven't.
It's
completed that
just another kind of samurai fight, but it's the weight of what, like, who you're doing it to and what you're doing and why you're doing it, that you're kind of like, holy shit, I don't want to do this, but I have to do it because this game's making me do it. Yeah.
Sounds like a segue,
To what?
but it's your turn and not mine, Stephen. So off you go.
Oh,
I don't have Sekiro, so you're fine.
I again struggled to choose which was my favorite for Sekiro, but I'll go back.
I
I'll
have
go
it
back
in
to
honorable-
it. I'll go back to it when it's my turn.
I have it in an honorable mention, but not in top bosses.
Just before you go, Stephen, just before you go, can I just throw in, seeing as you've both brought up a Destiny raid encounter, I'm not going to touch on my one, but can I just throw in as an honorable mention quickly that it's not a boss fight or a boss encounter, but it's my favorite Destiny raid encounter, and that's the Vault encounter from Last Wish. And obviously when we do it now, it seems very straightforward, but
still not straightforward.
No, I
figuring...
have no idea what happened.
but
P to the left. What does that even mean?
figuring out how that worked for the first time, for me anyway, like when I figured out exactly how that works, I went, oh my god, this is genius! Who came up with this and how much LSD had they done? Because it's a fantastic encounter. But yeah, moving on. Off you go, Stephen. I just wanted to mention my love for the vault. It's such a good encounter. It's brilliant. And I just love, like, when people were trying to figure it out day one, it was like, maybe it's to do with the way the shadows are hanging in this particular... Because, like, Antumbra and Penumbra are all about light things, about how light works and that. So they're like, maybe it's with the way the shadow is like. Funny. It's funny the things Destiny people come up with on day one of raids to try to figure stuff out.
If they had said that in the prophecy dungeon, wasn't so crazy.
Maybe that's where they got the idea for that. Like, maybe you've actually accidentally stumbled onto some sort of developer thought process there. No, it's not bad, not bad. Anyway, off you go, have fun.
Pop up now from Bungie. How do you know?
NDA, NDA, NDA.
Who told you?
I've got like I've got 4 here in my top 3 boss fight slots, and I don't know which one to pick. They all have different.
Why don't you give us a quick breakdown of each of them then?
It's really just Elite 4.
If you want.
The Elite 1, Elite 2.
Well, then I've got honorable mentions, but yeah. Well, I'll go through them, and one of them is for difficulty, and that's the Sephiroth fight from Kingdom Hearts.
Yes, I haven't played Kingdom Hearts, but I know about it. It's bullshit.
Yeah, so beating that was a huge accomplishment for like 12-year-old me. Oh, it's absolutely bullshit.
Even for adults, that's a pretty difficult fight.
I don't think I actually did it in the HD versions. I think it was like, fuck that. So that's included just for pure difficulty of a kid's game. The Ifrit fight from Final Fantasy 15, it's towards the end of the game. It's the music. I put it in that playlist. It's called Hellfire. It's fantastic.
I like that playlist actually. Sorry, Dill, from last week's soundtrack thing, me and Stephen started a Spotify playlist where we put in gaming soundtrack stuff in it. It's quite cool.
Nice.
If anyone wants
Death Stranding one,
if anyone wants it, I'll put it in the description below. I realized when Louise was watching the podcast yesterday that I said I'd put something in last week's description below and forgot to do it. Goddamn editor, you're so shit. But I'll put the link to that Spotify playlist in the description, and people can listen to it if they want, because there's some nice, really good songs in there.
Yeah, I'm just gonna keep adding to it as I come across them.
Yeah,
but yeah, good. So the free fight from Final Fantasy 15. I kind of cheated a little bit on this one, but the final fights in Devil May Cry 5. And thanks, Kev, because you had said, "Oh, are you including Devil May Cry 3 or 5?" I was like, "Oh yeah, I think I will." And then I went back to watch them. I was like, "Yeah, I'm including those. They're amazing."
It's when Dante fights his brother. Yes.
Oh, you know that, yeah.
Oh yeah, I know the fight. I know it. I haven't played it, but I know what it is. It's Dante fights
Virgil. Yeah, it's all of the fights though, going from Urzin all the way down to the final fight, and it's great.
And it's difficult as fuck.
Yeah, definitely. But the one that snuck in there towards the end of today was the final Pyramid Head fight from Silent Hill 2. Hey, look, Silent Hill 2 came in. I'm waiting for that one all day. But that fight, like, it's not that it's the final one. You fight 2 Pyramid Heads. So, I learned something about that fight today. So in the whole game, there's only 1 Pyramid Head up until the point where you kill another human in Silent Hill, and then you get a second Pyramid Head. And Pyramid Head is there to push you forward to come to the realization of
to force you into your.
He's a representation of your guilt and the feeling of guilt you have towards what you did, but you've repressed it. So he's there to drive you towards that conclusion. And then when I was looking at the videos today and someone was explaining like why a second one appeared, it's because you kill another human in Silent Hill and you clearly feel guilty for what you've done. So a second one comes to punish you, and that's when the character James realizes, he's like, that's why you're here. I know why you're here. You're here to punish me. And he goes, it's time. He knows he's killed his wife, and he goes, the time is up. It's time to end this. And you fight two of them, and they're both just standing there with one of them, or the two of them have spears. And when you actually kill them, it's not a case that you've, butchered them and they're on the ground dying. It's a fight of where you realize you've accepted what you've done, and the two of them just walk away, get their spears, turn them around into the ground, and just put their heads through the spear, and that's it. And that's how that fight ends. It's like, this is.
Jeez.
As a kid, it didn't really dawn on me what it was about, but then going back and
Meaning
rewatching
behind it,
them, you're like, fucking hell! It's like, this is mental. So that fight, while it's not an overly difficult fight, it was cool because you got to fight two pyramid heads who were chasing you. But now, later in years, I understand the meaning behind it all, and it's like, that game is 2001, and I'm still learning new things about it. Like,
Jesus.
it's deadly. So yeah, so there was my quick fire 4.
I love when you explain these things because it does make it sound so much more interesting, and it makes me kind of want to delve into that a little bit more. But then I remember it's a horror game and I'll never touch it.
To be fair, no, look, to be fair, I'm not great with horror games.
You
but
said
Silent
a
Hill 2
fucking giant spider gives birth to a baby.
Not this one. Not this
That's a
one.
red
That
flag
one,
and a half, dude.
This one doesn't. No giant spiders. But
even if it's a
more,
normal spider, I'm still freaked the fuck out by it.
It could
No
be an
spiders in
itsy
Silent Hill
bitsy
2.
spider getting washed down the drain pipe until it gets scared the shit out of
Yeah,
it.
you'll see a fucking PlayStation going out the window.
but it's more survival horror than it is.
Yeah.
Or it's just about managing the limited ammunition and stuff you have. So, but it's if you get your hands on it, I would definitely recommend playing it. Just play it in the light, you'll be fine.
Play in the light.
Get
Yeah,
Caddy to
fuck.
play through it and you can watch. It's okay.
She's
then.
worse.
Steven
We're
will
both
do
bunches of bitches.
Steven's going to do a stream of it for you and you can watch him play it.
Yeah, I'll be like
I
that.
actually would. If people wanted it, I actually would do that. That'd be good fun.
Found your
Comment
niche.
below.
Yeah.
Found my niche, yeah. I'm not a speedrunner though, so
Okay, I need to actually take note. Kev has to put something in the description. Spotify playlist in the description. I just forget. Louise told me whenever I say I should do that I should actually write it down. Anyway. Right. It's
So
no
go on,
secret
enlighten
that
us.
it's no secret that I have a great love for Sekiro Shadows Die Twice. However, from the video that I watched about an hour and 20 minutes ago now, it was Sekiro Shadows Never Die and boss dies in 10 seconds. Cause that was right. I'll touch on that in a minute. And I'll also put the description below for that. Anyway, Sekiro, I again narrowed it down to my two favorite boss fights throughout the game. And I'm still struggling to decide which one I want to go with. But I think I'll go with the not harder one, but the more touching one. So the one I'm not going with is the final fight. So it's Genichiro for one phase, and you kill him, but you don't, and then Ishin, the Sword Saint, steps out of his body.
You mean Glock Saint Ishin?
Anyway, and then you have to do 3 phases against Ishin, and a lot of people really struggle with that fight because it's difficult. It is. You have to be perfect for whatever it is, 10 minutes, or you're kind of fucked. But it gets harder and harder as it goes on, and that's the final fight, and it's in this field with it's the field from the very beginning of the game, but it's got the white, I don't know what kind of flower it is, but it's the white grass.
Petal blossoms or something.
Yeah. You actually think you could be right, but it's just a really nice arena. But there is a space to jump off the edge, which I managed to do many times. Anyway, the boss fight that I am going with to include in is what I think might have been Steven's least favorite one in Sekiro, and that is the Demon of Hatred.
Oh, the Demon of Hatred.
And
Oh.
I'm going with it because it is. So Sekiro kind of trains you of how boss fights work. And then you take on the Demon of Hatred near the end of the game. It's like the last optional boss before you go through all the endings, I think. My memory could be wrong. But it just takes all you've learned and goes, nope, out the window. So basically, the lore behind it, and it's the lore is the reason that I'm picking it. So when you first spawn in Sekiro, you meet a guy called the Sculptor, and the Sculptor crafts your gear for you. Like, you go to him to get upgrades, and he kind of gives you backstory of what's happening in the game, and when you die, he tells you what's going on. But basically, the Demon of Hatred is the Sculptor. He's been transformed into this big fiery, I don't know, 10-story high dog, for want of a better way of describing it. It's just a big, massive, fiery beast that does crazy AoE fire damage, and it's a difficult boss fight, and it has a slam which also does lots pretty high damage. But he's transformed into this big fiery beast because he's consumed by the immense bloodlust basically burning within him. And basically he wants you to kill him. So he's not fighting you because he wants to kill. He wants you to kill him, and when you do deal that final blow, he's like, "Oh, thank you, Sekiro. Basically, you freed me." So he's happy that you've killed him. So it's like killing your old friend. But it's a really difficult fight. Like, it is like.
And when you say it takes all the mechanics, everything that you've learned throughout the game, and then just basically throws it out. What do you mean by that? So
Sekiro, it's the samurai game, kind of like Ghost of Tsushima. So you've got your samurai fights, and you're fighting swords and katanas and that. Whereas this just throws all that out the window. You're fighting a big, massive fucking beast.
So you don't know how to react to it then?
Yeah, you don't have the same kind of parrying as you would against the swords or against katanas. Yeah, it's just.
It's a Bloodborne boss.
It's a Bloodborne boss. That's exactly what it is. That's actually the best way to describe it. It's a Bloodborne boss in Sekiro.
Yeah. And the two just don't go well together. So, like, where you'd be used to being really aggressive and attacking, and then as soon as you hear a deflect sound from the enemy, you go straight into defense. You start parrying shit. Mm-hmm. With this, you can't. Like, you go in, you might get
he's
a
on
slap
fire.
Or two.
Yeah,
and he will just knock you around. Like, it's
like in the video when I finally beat it. Like, I knew if I could get to phase 3. I'd be able to beat it, because there is not a cheese, but there is a couple of abilities that you can use to weaken him, distract him so you can have the whistle where it kind of stuns him for a few seconds, but you can only use it 3 times. And then there's I can't think what the other thing was that you can use, the purple
sword.
shit.
Yeah.
But you can only use a certain amount of them. So I was saving my whistle until the 3rd phase. So I knew if I could get through the 1st and 2nd phase, in the 3rd phase I could use the finger whistle and then just wail all the damage on him and, kill him. But
the finger whistle was cool though, because that's his training partner's finger that the guardian ape basically tore from her. And you get it from the ape sanctuary. Like, it's really cool.
But what was quite difficult about him though was that he had 2 unblockable attacks, and then he also had 3 ranged attacks and 4, I think, close attacks. But then he gained new attacks through each phase. So fighting him at range was hard. Fighting him up close, you couldn't really because of the fire. It was just a difficult fucking fight. But the secret to any Bloodborne boss or any Sekiro boss or any Dark Souls boss is what, Stephen?
Hold block.
Get in there.
Get behind them. Yeah.
Yeah,
Nah.
get up that booty. That's all you got to
Get
do.
up that booty. But like it's just nice getting that payoff at the end where he's basically like, "Thank you, Sekiro. Thank you. You saved my soul." But
While you're sweating and screaming on him,
Like-
you fucking
Yeah!
prick.
But likewise with Ishin, he's also, when you kill him, he's like, congratulations, you've succeeded. You've completed your training pretty much. I can't remember the exact voice line that Ishin says, but he's basically like, "Do it, kill me," and then he's like, "Congratulations," or it's something along those lines.
Yeah, I can't remember what it is. I just remember hesitation is defeat, and then you die, or you're already dead.
Several
You're already
times.
there. I can't think what he says at
I
the
ha-
end.
I had
I don't know.
a Sekiro boss in an honorable mention, and this is the one I thought you were going to pick actually, but it's the Divine Dragon.
I'd
It's
like
just
that.
such-
I'd like that fight for the spectacle of it,
Yeah.
but it's very straightforward.
Oh, it's such an easy fight.
Yeah.
But it's the spectacle of like seeing this huge one-armed dragon with a thunderbolt sword, and you're like, what? Because before that you're fighting human.
It's very fantasy.
Like,
Yeah, it's very fantasy.
yeah, and
One
then
extreme.
and like you don't see the demon of hatred up until this point, so you're like, okay, I'm fighting things that I can block and so on. You're like, how the fuck do I block a 400-foot skinny Godzilla?
But it's actually very easy.
But it's
you
super easy,
find
and
you find the tree with the electricity on it.
and throw it right back in his
Yeah.
face.
But you
it's-
know what?
but
That's
it's
actually
also-
kind of a precursor for Ishin. It kind of trains you how to use that. You can throw thunder back.
Yeah. The what I really like about that fight, apart from the kind of spectacle of it, is that it's one of the few fight, or maybe the only fight, where you don't actually kill someone. Like
Yeah.
you don't do a shinobi execution. You're there to take its dragon tears, and you go up and you use your mortal blade to slice open its eyelid and extract the tear.
Yeah.
And it's just this really beautiful moment of like, oh, there doesn't have to be,
That's to
deaths.
get one of the endings, isn't it? I need my memory
Yeah,
refreshed.
it's for the most
But you need that
for
to
the
get.
most obscure ending. Yeah.
Yeah. You need that to
Yeah.
get an ending. Yeah. Yeah, but again, there's so many good fights in that, like, and so many really bullshit fights in that. I know you were on Owl for quite a while.
Mm-hmm.
Like, there's the Lady
Mhm.
Butterfly fight as well, where Lady
Yeah.
Butterfly is this difficult fight boss, and she's got ranged attack that chase you around the place. She's got the jump attack, and she's super, super fast and aggressive, but she's only got one health bar, and you beat her, and you're like, "Yes, I beat that bitch!" And then you didn't actually beat her, and she gets the second health bar that she didn't previously have, and she like spawns behind you. She's like, "Oh fuck me! I thought I was done." That's
It's what happens to all the grannies getting their COVID vaccine now.
But you know what I really
You are
like?
done with me.
What I really liked about Sekiro in a few of the boss fights, and that like they do it with Great Owl and Lady Butterfly. They do it with is it
Genichiro.
Genichiro and Ishin, and Genichiro and Owl as well. But they also do it with the horseback guy on horseback, the first actual boss.
Okay. My name.
Yeah, my name
Kenobi.
is. My name is. But they do it with him and the Demon of Hatred. It's the same arena, but they changed the aesthetic of the arena. So when you fight against Lady Butterfly, it's burned out. It's kind of destroyed. When you fight against Owl, it's on fire. Or when you fight against again with my name is, it's that real. It's a feel. It's like a battalion where there was a battle went on here, and then when you fight against the Demon of Hatred, it's just all on fire.
Yeah.
Reusing assets, but doing it in really aesthetically pleasing ways.
Lazy Miyazaki.
Lazy Miyazaki, how dare he? But also it's the same for Bloodborne and for Sekiro. The soundtracks for those boss fights are always beautiful. Always
Yeah.
excellent. Always excellent. So, yeah.
Dale, did you have any honorable mentions?
I think I just touched on them. I didn't want to go into them much because they are kind of story spoilers.
Right, I'm gonna go for a Wii. do talk about The Last of Us for a minute, because I know it's what you want to talk about.
Yeah,
Go
the
for it.
one in The Last of Us when. So you're not going to play Last of Us 2, right?
No, but I've seen a playthrough, so I know what happens.
So you play the first half as Ellie getting
Mhm.
revenge for what happened to Joel at the very start.
Gate, yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Gulfgate. And then for the second half, you play as what's her face? Can't
Abby.
even think of her name. Abby, yeah. And you see her perspective and why she's doing what she's doing, and it is the exact same situation. She's doing it for her dad. Ellie's doing it for Joel, her father figure. And towards the end of it, me personally, I swayed more towards Abby. And there's one fight in the theater where it's the first time you're playing as Abby for the last couple, like 15 plus hours, I think, at that stage, or 10 to 15 hours, depending on how you play it. And this is the first time you see Ellie as another character coming in to kind of assassinate you, and you have to fight her. And then it changes back over to Ellie's perspective. And when it changed back over to Ellie's perspective, I didn't want to hurt Abby. I didn't want to have to fight her. And it was kind of like the typical, like, you're trying to pull your punches and stuff, but you have to go through it for the story and the narration of it. But it was like, it's not one of those grander boss fights, but at the same time, it's just because of the way they've told the story to that point and how they've made you feel about your basically what you're doing, and whatever you kind of choose to do carries over. Like, it has, what's the word I'm looking for? Consequences.
Yeah.
So,
and I think that's something they did really well in that game. Like, not having played it and so on, but I think giving you that alternative perspective and then forcing you to basically go back. So, like if you swayed the other side, you don't want to go back. You're like, no, I don't agree with this. And I think that's probably what pissed off a lot of people and why they got a lot of hatred, is because, you were there with Ellie and Joel, and now
they took your pedestal person and fucking shat on them.
Yeah, or maybe your internal biases were conflicted upon. You're like, oh, actually, I don't like agreeing with Abby, this butch bitch that she is.
Yeah,
and you're like, but you can. If they did
she has just as much a right to set out for what she's done. And it was the last time you see each other, you fight, you're escaping, and I think Abby saves she saves Ellie, and she gets her to the boats to get out of there. And then you fight each other again, and I got really emotional at that stage. I was like, can we not just go our separate ways? Like, you know what I'm doing, or you know why I'm doing what I'm doing, and I know what you're doing, or why you're doing what you're doing. And it carried so much weight on it. But it was just your typical standing in the water, punching each other, and then watching.
Was that the bit where she leaves her girlfriend to get the revenge?
Yes.
And then she comes back after the fight to find out.
Yeah.
She's basically gone, well, I can't be with you because you've chosen revenge.
And then she leaves her to the empty house. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, okay. I think that's a really tragic scene in that.
Yeah.
It's someone who you probably really enjoyed as character. Like, they're actually just not right. They're broken beyond fixing, and what do you do in that
exactly
case?
And the fact that she couldn't go on living knowing that she was out there, and it played in for a great story, but at the same time it's like, take the moral high ground. Kind of, you have your perfect life in your imperfect world that you have now with your partner and your baby, and you're living out in the farm, kind of enjoy it. But yeah, it was just that just adds more to it. And then obviously when she goes back and she's gone. But yeah, that was just like that fight at night in the water. I was like, can you not just go? Like, just leave it. Like, you've come back. And I think that would have been accepted, where she comes back to get her revenge, but then she sees that maybe this isn't what I want, and maybe I can live on with what has happened. But yeah,
you'd nearly feel bad for her if she had done that saved her and not had to fight, and you go, you originally went out for revenge, but you actually redeemed yourself.
Exactly, exactly.
But you still lost everything. It's like, no, you actually were still a cunt to the end, basically.
Yeah, and it turned me away from Ellie and made me go for Abby's side. But that was one I really wanted to mention, but I didn't want to spoil it because
because he still hasn't fucking played it yet, so
I probably never will. But
no.
that's just the perfect example of the weight of the story carries more into the fight than actually the encounter or the mechanics.
The encounter is just a way to bring that story forward.
Yeah.
Do you give me a thumbs up, yeah?
Yeah, I can't do a thumbs up. I'm a cripple, okay?
You really spoke about The Last of Us for that long? Bloody hell. Usually people get that out of the way in a Twitter post. Also known as a tweet for short.
You'll understand it when you eventually finish it.
I will eventually finish it.
But basically that last segment makes up for the slow progress of the last kind of half
40 hours.
Yeah.
Yes.
Basically.
Right, Stephen, you have a couple more honorable mentions there, don't you?
Yeah, so I already mentioned Divine Dragon and Glock Saint Ishin as well. One that I was going to put in my top bosses, but didn't in the end, but is definitely one of my favorite encounters. I'm surprised you didn't put it in, Kev. It's Psychomantis from the PlayStation 1 Metal Gear.
It's in my honorable mentions.
That is
I was gonna bring that up. That there's quite a few boss encounters in Metal Gear Solid that could be mentioned. With Psychomantis being one.
That's definitely one of the most innovative boss fights I think ever created.
It's incredible. Like, it's genius. I hear you like I can see you like playing role-playing games made by Konami. Basically, it was built into the game deal that the boss could read what saves were on your memory card. So it was like, I can read your mind. And then it'd be like, I see you like playing, and then it'd name a game type or a game that you played. It really broke the fourth wall.
Yeah.
And then to actually fight the boss, you had to take your controller out of port 1 and put it into port 2.
Oh, I remember you were telling me about that. Yeah.
It's so good. Like,
really
interactive.
You'd never have guessed it. And then they tried to redo it in 4 with the Crying Mantis, was it? Where she like read your memory card or something, but they didn't bring in the reading your controller inputs. But one thing, so the next honorable mention then is I couldn't pick one from this game, so I just put them all in because this game is just boss fights, and it's Shadow of the Colossus.
Yeah, there's quite a lot of like
it doesn't really hold up well now. I only played the HD
remake, the remaster, or remake. I don't know what you want to call. I think it's a remake. I think I have it there.
Remake, yeah. I played it. That's why I played it on. Like, it's a fun game, and the story is excellent. But the boss fights, like, for their time, would have been incredible. And it's just, you're just going up against, what is it, like 12, 16? Maybe 16 massive beasts of different shapes and sizes, and they all have different weak spots and how you fight them. And
the bird one is particularly impressive.
Yeah. And even
that's probably the standout one. This is the bird. So you're fighting it, and you're climbing on its back in its weak spot while it's flying through the air. So you're fighting the wind as well as the boss.
But it's just, it's so simple and so well done. And then the story, which doesn't really get told a whole lot until later in the game, and the payoff you get for that, it's like, it's just, I don't know how to explain it, but taking something so trivial as like just killing bosses and making you feel bad for it by the end is something that it hit hard. And then I couldn't not have an honorable mentions list and not mention a Final Fantasy boss, but I wasn't really able to pick just one because there's a hell of a lot of them. But what I will say is the bosses in Final Fantasy 14 are next level because they're not just your typical turn-based fight type things anymore. You know, you're going in with 8 other people in most cases and juggling mechanics and having some story in the middle, like cutscenes in the middle that end up being like an ultimate fucking attack, and they're a spectacle and really fucking difficult at times, but they're so good. And I just like to mention that most of the bosses, particularly in Shadowbringers, are incredible. And so that's my honorable mentions.
I had a few as well. I know you touched on Metal Gear Solid series with Psycho Mantis. Like, I have a particular soft spot for the Vamp fight from Sons of Liberty. I got it right this time! From Sons of Liberty, where Raiden's fighting Vamp and he's jumping into the water and swimming around. I just remember that from when I was younger playing it. You've obviously got the end. I got it right this week. Straight Viber. The end where you can literally turn your console off for a week and come back and he'll have died of old age. But it's like he's trying to snipe you. It's a really, really good boss fight. Then you've got, obviously, in Snake Eater, you've got the boss where you're basically fighting your mentor. And that's kind of where Snake, big boss, kind of swerves away from being that soldier and becoming that icon of, yeah. Like all the Ocelot fights are excellent boss fights. You've got is it Metal Gear Ray at the end of Sons of Liberty, where you're fighting the mech. Like, the one that I remember is the Olga Gorlukovich fight from MGS2. I just remember because I played it so many times when I was younger.
On the demo, yeah.
Yeah, the demo, yeah. It's just so many great boss fights in Metal Gear. It's Kojima. Kojima's fantastic. He really is.
Yeah, and actually the fight at the end of 4 where you fight it's Ocelot, isn't it?
Ocelot, yeah.
Ocelot, but as Liquid.
Yeah.
Or Liquid as Ocelot, whatever way it is.
Whatever way it is. Reddit Viper, tell us in the comments, thanks. Mr. Metal Gear.
all the different eras. So like you get the music from each era coming in through different punches, and that's really well done. Yeah. Just Kojima.
It's a really iconic game series, and it's kind of a pity that the relationship between Konami and Kojima ended the way it did. It's because, and that the fact that there's not really Metal Gear is kind of a dead series now, unless somebody makes a real ballsy move and buys it off Konami, which probably isn't going to happen. Spencer.
It's going to Xbox.
It's going to Xbox. But it's so many in there. Another one that I remember, and it's fantastic, is the GLaDOS fight from the end of Portal 2. And then you can't escape, and you shoot the moon to escape and portal yourself to the moon. It's great.
Space. I miss space.
Into space. Portal 2 is great. If you haven't played Portal, you need to play Portal.
Are you offering to buy that this week as well, are you?
If Portal is on fucking Steam, I will gift it to somebody that hasn't played it. That includes you, Dill. If it's on sale. It's probably cheap enough anyway at this stage. It's been out forever. I got Portal 2 for like €3 off a guy that I used to work with. So
Jesus.
It was great. It's fantastic. It's a really simple concept. You've got a gun that shoots a portal that leads through this way and comes out this way. And it's just a puzzle game, and then obviously boss fight, where you're just jumping yourself through portals and jumping objects through portals and making them come out elsewhere to solve the puzzle. But it's brilliant because it's got this really hilarious dialogue throughout the whole game. It's arguably the funniest game.
Oh yeah,
it's definitely up there as one of the funniest. The last thing honorable mention would be back in Pokemon Blue and Red when you fight your rival for the first time. Well, the last time is after beating the Elite Four. It's like, oh my god, I'm fighting this dickhead that's been annoying me for the last 20 odd hours.
Surprise, it's me. I knew it was you.
And then also an honorable mention to every child's favorite nightmare worst nightmare in Whitney and her Miltank back in Pokemon Gold and Silver.
Roll out.
You could have
Roll
got
out.
the matchup from the Pokemon Center in the trade, but you didn't. Not my fault. Yeah, that's really my honorable mentions. I don't really have any others that I can think of off the top of my head anyway. There's plenty out there. There's lots we haven't touched on, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But will we move on to
Hmm.
the favorite weapons?
Our subtopic.
Think we should.
I'm gonna go first because you
I know. I
Yeah.
have a feeling what you're gonna say, Stephen.
fucking stole it. No, you stole it on me, you prick.
What did you
Go
say?
I'm
on.
gonna go first. One of my favorite weapons is the portal gun.
The portal
I
gun.
absolutely love. the
Isn't it
portal
weird that you count that as a weapon, but it technically is.
It's a creation, or used to
Yeah.
create
Shoot
rather than
things.
destroy.
Yeah.
gun. It shoots shit.
Yeah.
It's a weapon. But like, yeah, Portal is definitely one of the funniest games ever. But just the simplicity of shooting blue portal in, red portal
Yeah.
out, and even actually like even in the original Portal, how they developed that like if you shoot a portal and you see the other one and like if you do it the right way, you can actually see your
Oh.
body walking through it.
Yeah.
I saw a clip on that where someone, I don't know if it was multiplayer or whatever, but someone was, or thought they were chasing somebody, but it was themselves going in a circle. And it was really funny. It was like, is this guy really just going to keep going around and around and around? But then he stopped, and then he walked backwards, and then
I've seen like you
reflection
see
walked
people do really impressive things in Portal as well. And actually, I'm just going to use that line that I've just created for myself to segue back to something I forgot to mention. And it's about Sekiro, and I'll touch on it quickly. Me and Steven watched a video today of a guy who has mastered Sekiro. And I went looking for a video to refresh my brain of what my favorite boss fights were. And I'm glad I clicked on the one I clicked on. It was a montage of the guy fighting all of the bosses Sekiro and absolutely shredding them. Like, it was the most... And he's maxed out all the abilities. He's got everything. And I will link this in the description below again. But I thought I was good at Sekiro. And now I've noticed I'm really not that good at Sekiro. This guy has just... It's so impressive. I was watching that on the sofa just in awe at how good this person was. And it's just... My favorite comment was, I've platinumed Sekiro and now I realized I'm really bad at the game, basically.
No one has fucked a monkey that hard since HIV.
Oh my god. Like, it was... Oh,
Jesus.
he was beating these bosses in 10 seconds that are supposed to last for 3
That
or
was
4 or 5
ridiculous.
minutes. It was frightening. I actually, honest to God, the first time when I saw him fight, was that the first one?
Yeah.
That was the first one that he showed.
That's the first one, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I genuinely
Good-
thought he had hacks turned on. It's that good. I was like, this guy has to be cheating. There's no way anyone's... No, that's seriously impressive. Sorry, moving on back to the weapons. Portal gun, great.
No, yep, that's it. That would be one of the most practical weapons to have in real life.
It
Like,
would.
just think of all the things you can do with it.
Yeah, I need a beer from the fridge. Vroom.
Exactly. Yeah.
I want a beer now.
So
Somebody really annoys you. Like, we're on a podcast and Steven says something stupid again. Portal here, portal there, clatter. Go on, Dill.
5-kilometer rule.
20 now.
one of mine.
20.
Since I finished on Destiny last time, I'm going to start with Destiny this time. And my favorite is Anarchy.
It's the most powerful raid exotic we've had.
100%.
Yeah, there's no question. It
Yeah,
is. It's
yeah.
1K
So
Voices
powerful.
had its time, but Anarchy it's just so consistent.
yeah, it's so powerful.
I remember when that first got announced, and actually I remember seeing it first. It was people were shooting at the ground and making their grids and stuff like that, and I was like, how is this ever going to be useful? It was at the time when grenade launchers weren't powerful. It was pre-mountaintop, and then it just
It nullifies
decimates.
it nullifies boss encounter fights. It's literally put down some anarchy and hide in the corner.
Yeah.
If it's hard, it just wipes about, circumvents everything.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time,
it's gotta be nerfed eventually.
Yeah. It doesn't feel like it's in. I know it's. I hate using overpowered, but it's powerful. It fits into any kind of loadout that you want to run.
I don't think it's overpowered. I just think it has too much ammo.
I think it's overpowered in that there's no skill involved to get the amount of damage output that
That's
it does.
fair.
Like,
That's fair.
if it was something like Revoker, where if you're not good with sniping, it's not going to do. You're not going to do anything with it in PvP. I don't know. I don't have a Revoker. I don't have a Revoker.
Revoker gives you ammo for missing shots.
I don't know that. I just know that it fucking killed me a lot.
If you don't hit someone with a Revoker shot, you get the ammo back for free. So there is absolutely. I get your point about. No, I completely get your point. You just chose
that
out. You just chose the wrong weapon. But I get your point about a sniper. But Revoker was just the wrong choice of sniper.
A weapon where you need to aim and do something to get the overpowerness out of it, rather than just pop, hide in the corner.
Yeah,
I'm showing that we don't have PvP weapons now, right?
Kev, take us away with yours.
There's so many guns in Destiny that I could list. I love my Ace of Spades. I've used it so long. I love my Hawkmoon in Destiny 1. He's my first exotic. But if we're speaking about Destiny, there's only one gun that can be brought up. Like, let's be real. Yeah. It's the iconic gun. It's gotta be brought up. It's the Gallahorn. Like, it was like...
It's the
if Destiny you play it's the Destiny 1 gun. If you didn't have it, you wanted it. And if you did have it and your friend didn't, you laughed the fucking ass off them. It was the gun that everyone chased for the first year of Destiny, because it was so powerful. It was literally, we're doing Atheon or we're doing Crota. Have you got Gallahorn? Oh no, I don't have it. You can't raid with us. Sorry. Yeah. It was just so powerful and eventually it's going to be brought back to Destiny 2, because eventually everything is coming back to Destiny 2.
I don't want it.
It's gonna, like, it doesn't matter if we want it or not. They're eventually bringing it all back. It's going to come back at some point. And there's just and it's going to be a quest reward, but it won't be as powerful as it was in that first year of Destiny. It just, because abilities just blow everything out of the water anyway at this stage. But yeah, it was just that. It was the gun. And if you didn't have it, you felt bad about not having it. And then when you did get it, you pissed yourself in excitement.
Yeah. It had its moment. I'd rather just leave it there.
In an ideal world, I'd rather just get new stuff. But
yeah.
The nostalgia trip works every time, so they're going to keep on doing it.
It does.
Yeah. I wouldn't be surprised if it came back next season.
Here's Vogue. Experience it the way you experienced the last time.
Yeah. It wouldn't surprise me if Vogue dropped if there was a quest from a 7th chest in Vogue, and it started a quest to get the Gallahorn again.
As long as it wasn't the only seasonal fucking exotic weapon, because I think that would be a bit...
We're going to get Vex as well from the Vogue.
I hope so. Oh,
yeah. We're obviously going to get some sort of seasonal weapon as well. So. I think the difference is, though, like in Destiny 1, it was the most powerful for the whole time. Even when they nerfed it, it was still the most powerful. But I think in 2, there's other stuff that would be on a par with it. The likes of Anarchy would be on par with it. So I don't think it'd be that you must use this gun the way it was in Destiny 1. Also, rocket launcher is shit anyway, so...
Yeah. Which is unfortunate. Stephen, what's your next thing to use?
I had the Gallahorn there, so that's gone.
Do you know what, though? On Gallahorn, I didn't get it until, like, Easter after Destiny came out. And I played a lot of Destiny. And then I got 3 in a week. I
think I got it when the Dark Blow dropped. I think that was...
No, I didn't even have it. It was House of Wolves was nearly out when I got it. And then I got it Tuesday, Friday, Tuesday. Anyway. One for each character.
So I'll just go with my other favorite weapon. And back in 1997, it's the most iconic Final Fantasy
the big fucking
weapon.
It's the Buster
slab.
Even
the Buster
Jill knows
sword.
about it.
I know
The
about it
Buster
now.
sword. Yeah, like there are amazing weapon designs in Final Fantasy. Like I love the Brotherhood, Tidus's ultimate weapon in Final Fantasy X. Like there's some really, really fantastic weapons, but that's just the most iconic one. And
there's not many
nothing
weapons
better
that are as iconic as it.
No,
Maybe
like,
4
there are.
or 5.
Yeah, like there's a few, but you've got the scrawny, lanky, slightly blonde guy, like pulling around his massive hunk of steel. Like, no, that's not happening. But it was so cool, and
Defies the laws of physics.
I definitely wanted one every Christmas since then, and I just haven't got one yet.
I'll let Deirdre know you want a Buster sword for Christmas. To be quite honest with you, I also wouldn't mind a Buster sword to hang on the wall. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah,
I might say it louder.
But
like it's not just
a great
the
sword from Monster Hunter and just paint it.
Just paint it. It's not just the sword though. Like it's the lore behind the story behind it as well. That it was given to Cloud by his friend and mentor Zack, and blah blah blah.
Who it was also given down by his friend and mentor Angeal, and it's just it's.
Do you remember how you felt when you saw the remakes Buster Sword for the first time at E3 when it's following going down the tunnel and then it steps out and then Cloud walks in front and it's the Buster. She's like, they did it! They did it!
The exact same as that video that we had a few weeks ago.
Yeah.
The exact same. Yeah. So that's
pretty iconic. It's pretty iconic. And I had that on my list as well. How could you not?
Look at you, double dipping.
Go on, Dil. What's your
my next one is from my favorite comic superhero, and that is Mjolnir.
Is that how you pronounce that?
Yeah, how'd you pronounce it?
Mew Mew. Mew Mew.
Mew Mew. You forgot your Mew Mew. I was like, what the fuck is Steven gonna come out with here?
I think Steven's taking place of podcast dad this week. He's the one making all the dad jokes.
Yeah. Mjolnir, it's fucking class, man. It's such a good weapon.
And now we know
never
what
be able
Dil
to pick
wants.
it up because I wouldn't be worthy, but at the same time,
we know what Dil wants for Christmas.
Yeah, Kathy's not here, so I can say as loud as possible, and she still wouldn't hear me.
They have one in GameStop. Oh, not GameStop. Forbidden Planet.
Yeah, but it's a fucking toolbox, Kev. And while that's cool, yeah, every Mjolnir replica I see in all these GameStops and Forbidden Planets, it's a fucking toolbox.
You just want the shiny replica to put in the shelf.
I just want the Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
that's what you want. One of my favorite. Build it into the foundations of your home so that no one can ever pull it out and it's just sitting there in your kitchen or something.
Just
trip over it late at night.
Just glue it to the table. Just like use Gorilla Glue to leave it on the table and be like, put money on €20 bet if you can pick that up. €20 if you're worthy to pick it up, and no one's gonna pick it up. You get some fucker we'll just pick the whole kitchen table up with it.
Yeah. And then you have a Buster Sword.
Yeah, that's a really good weapon.
Yeah, it's one of those iconic ones. Like, I love Thor, and I love the new one that he has, Stormbreaker or whatever. But yeah, it's kind of a bit sad when Mjolnir got squashed by Hela. Mew Mew. You forgot your Mew Mew.
Saying that though, I think it's to do with the weapon as opposed to the character. But when Cap picks it up in Endgame, I haven't been in a cinema that reacted that way to a movie moment in a long time. Like people were literally out of their seats. Like their team had just scored the winning goal in the World Cup final. was spectacular. It was an experience. People were like, yes. It's like, well, calm the fuck. But yeah,
Oh, goosebumps thinking about that moment again.
yeah, it was
Jeez.
great. It was great.
And you can
I
fly
knew
with
it.
it as well. It's great.
Yeah, that's a big perk.
Conjure,
It is a big
conjure
perk.
lightning. Yeah,
Use it as a
Pretty
bottle opener.
use it as a bottle opener. Throw it at someone, they try to catch it, and then they go.
However, is it an elegant weapon from a more civilized age, though? I don't have a lightsaber on my list because it's not really a game weapon. So I didn't have it.
The Phantom Menace was a game.
However,
Jedi Fallen Order was a game.
I do have one of those.
That's the third weapon on my list.
Nah.
Yeah,
The other weapon on my
That's how you're
list
gonna say,
is
Steven.
it's a more iconic. It's another iconic, not a more iconic. It's another kind of iconic weapon, but it's not the Buster. It's another Sony PlayStation iconic weapon. Well, two iconic weapons. It's the Blades of Chaos that Mr. Kratos has wrapped around his arms in the first 3 God of War games, and then reacquires in the
2016.
the reboot. But yeah, they're just great. And then he obviously gets the Blades of Athena and whatever the other ones he gets are. I can't think of what they are off the top of my head. But they were just great. They kicked ass. They were great at close range. They were great at long range. They were just great. They were great
actually
for
loved when
climbing.
you
They
unlocked
were great
them.
for anything. Yeah. What was it?
I much preferred that when you unlock them in the remake. That over the axe any day.
The axe. I hate the axe. That's
I'd
what
always
got.
throw it and forget to call it back.
And you want to have Thor's Mew Mew?
Mew Mew will come back whether it wants it or not, okay?
Mm.
Or whether I call her or not.
Yeah, the Blades of Chaos were great.
Yeah. There's just something about like putting swords on chains and swinging them around.
Yes.
Something conventional.
And having fire spewing out as well.
Yeah.
I really need to finish that game.
You still haven't finished that?
Ew.
30 FPS. I just
you
couldn't.
now.
Yeah, I know now I do, but I didn't in the past. So it was just like playing. It was like my eyes are burning because it's a bad 30 as well. It's not. It's 30 and less, not solid 30. But now I know it's 60 FPS. Now I need to just stop being a little bitch about it.
Do it.
Yeah. Do it.
Did you actually see that PlayStation, the update that came out has 120 hertz support?
Yep.
The next thing they better do is 1440p support.
It already has 1440p support.
Are you? Does it?
It upscales 1440p monitors to 4K.
Oh, nice. That's all right then.
Yeah, that's what I have it on.
I didn't know it did that.
Yeah.
I was going to get myself a nice OLED, but the back garden has kind of taken that fun for a while. So eventually.
Yeah.
Are we back to the start?
I've no other ones. You robbed mine.
I hadn't either.
Honorable mention.
You robbed one of mine, and I robbed one of yours, so we're even.
Deal.
Yeah, my lightsaber. That's
You weren't even joking about that.
No, I wasn't joking about it. Yeah, lightsaber.
It's such an iconic weapon. Like
It is.
It is iconic.
Everyone-
It's probably
everyone
the most
did
well-known weapon, isn't it?
Tell me someone who doesn't want a lightsaber. Exactly.
I don't.
Two.
I don't.
Did you? Where was it recently
I
that I,
don't
saw?
want the lightsaber.
I have one.
I have one.
No, haven't they done a new patent or a new design?
Yeah,
where
it was
it's
Disney.
It's Disney. It's actually
Yeah.
Disney. I think it's to be actually in the park.
In the parks, yeah, that's
That
what
they
it was.
it actually retracts properly.
Yeah,
Obviously, it doesn't cut
yeah.
through flesh, but it retracts like an actual.
that wouldn't go well with the
lightsaber, yeah.
Disney fucking.
No, it wouldn't
demographic
go well.
of
It wouldn't go
6-year-olds.
well at all.
But yeah,
Yeah.
they have put down a patent for a retractable lightsaber, which is fucking class.
It is.
That'd be cool because when I was in Florida, I nearly pulled the plug on the fucking getting one over there.
Oh,
Really
to create
good.
your own, dude!
Oh,
I
I
cannot
nearly-
wait to go over and do that. It's 200 quid, but I'm
know.
gonna.
It's worth it. It's worth
It's
it.
the experience as well, like the fact that you're building it, putting your crystal in, and you can actually buy the crystals in the shop and take it apart and put in a different color crystal. if you
That's
change your
really
mind.
cool, actually.
Yeah.
That is
Yeah.
cool. Yeah, I buy myself
get
lots
yellow
of
ones
nice
and stuff.
things. Like, okay, Ray Skywalker, calm down. I buy myself lots of nice things, but like Louise really treats me well. Like she got me the lightsaber, she got me my Switch, my DS, all the good stuff.
This is just a little shout out for Louise.
Yeah.
I'm obviously in the bad books over something.
What's that? Is like if you when
She
you
got me Squirtle.
oh
Squirtle talks.
Does he say squirrel, squirrel?
He
no, it
does.
says Char Char. Obviously, he says squirrels.
He says Pikachu. Oh, Pokemon or Pikachu. Come on.
Yeah, on the inside.
Yeah, I had no other ones either on my favorite. I kept it to 3 because I knew it was only subtopic, so I kind of kept it short. There's obviously
Yeah, there's no need to expand on.
You've
them
obviously
right
got like
there. Know them.
you've obviously got Link's,
The Master Swords.
the
Yeah.
Master
Master
Sword.
Sword.
You've got Halo. You got the whatever you call the fucking thing.
Energy swords.
Mm-hmm.
The energy sword. I didn't play Halo, so it doesn't count. Like you've got Skippy and Cyberpunk, just to bring it up. The talking gun.
Oh yeah,
that
the
says
handgun.
lines.
Yeah.
When you pick it up first, it's talking to you and it's singing fucking Rihanna song to you. It's hilarious. You have it's a side quest in Cyberpunk, and it's like bam bam be bam bam be dum. It's great, but yeah, we could go through loads, just the blue shells and all that nonsense. But
There's about
Actually,
100 guns in Destiny.
and
Devil
the
May
rest,
Cry
yeah.
has
Devil May Cry.
fantastic swords.
It's on sale. 5 is on sale. I'm kind of tempted.
Get it. Fucking
Yeah.
get it.
I'm kind of
It's
tempted,
so good.
even though I know what the final boss fight is. I'm kind of tempted.
It's kind
Never
of
played any of those.
I played 4.
You've only played 4, or you've played 4 of them?
I've only played 4. Yeah. Or is that a 3? It's a 4 or a 3. I can't really tell in this light. It might have been 3. Anyway, shall we touch on the news quickly?
Go
Go
for it.
for it.
Right. I will start at the beginning. I actually didn't realize I actually had this in the news, so I'm kind of glad that I do. And it is about the Last of Us remake that nobody asked for.
Yeah.
Give me 2 seconds and I'll share screen this into you guys so you can see it, what I'm talking about. Yeah, so basically Jason Schreier, who puts out all the news in gaming news, spoke about that Days Gone devs aren't making Days Gone 2, that they were working on the Last of Us remake, but that's now imported back over to Naughty Dog and blah, blah, blah. It's causing unrest. We don't need to get into that. But it's kind of weird that we're getting a Last of Us remake.
It just feels so soon and so unnecessary.
Yeah, a little bit.
It'd be like if they turned around tomorrow and says we're rebooting Harry Potter. It's like
It's
It
one
doesn't
of those
need to be.
things. It's one of those things that, from a gamer point of view, no, we don't. Most people don't want or need this.
no.
But from a business standpoint, I completely understand it, because the Last of Us 2 just came out and won every single fucking award under the sun. They're making the HBO series
Yep.
with Bella Ramsey that was in Game of Thrones, and Pedro Pascal. So a Last of Us remake bundled with Part 2 for PS5 would sell like hotcakes. So I
Or
get
just
it.
continue the franchise.
Yeah. But I agree. I definitely agree. It's a PS3 game that has already been remastered PS4. I know the systems and the quality of life stuff that 2 brought, and you've got kind of the open stuff. Definitely, I agree. Move on with the franchise, but it will still sell like fucking crazy.
Oh yeah, completely.
It'll sell like cool pops on a hot day.
It would be interesting to see if they incorporate the VAs with the HBO actors to kind of give
Maybe
it that bit more
I-
depth.
That would cause so much fucking
But then there you
anger.
go. If they recast it and you have
Oh,
a
that
new
caused so
like
much
Troy
anger.
Baker isn't Joel, and then you have Pedro Pascal who's Joel in the
Yeah.
TV show, and then you have another Joel
Yeah.
in the remake. So
Yeah, it's one of those weird things that nobody asked for it, but you'll have
Yeah.
people arguing both sides of the state of it. So anyway, Next up is apparently person who created God of War. Speaking of God of War and the Blades of Chaos, that
Corey
Sony
Balrog,
is
it?
working.
Or Barlog.
Nah, David Jaff.
Oh.
I think he's left Santa Monica.
I'm thinking of
actually.
Santa Monica Studios.
Yeah, I think he's left Santa Monica. But basically, apparently, Sony are working on a Xbox Game Pass type system.
Good.
Which it needs.
They need it.
Like PlayStation Play, is it? Or
PlayStation
Now?
Now.
It's just it doesn't carry as
Yeah,
well.
like there is some decent stuff on it, but it's not as it's clearly not as much, and it's a lot of old stuff.
It's their
on it.
limited licensing as well, doesn't help.
Yeah, the PlayStation Plus collection is fantastic. Like for PS5,
Yeah.
there's lots of games there, but yeah, it's a lot of older
That's-
stuff. It's a lot of older
And
stuff.
exactly.
Yeah.
It's stuff that you've played, and
Yeah,
if you enjoyed it, you'd play again. But at the
Mhm.
same time,
100%.
Game Pass offers new and unique experiences as well as
Yes.
old experiences. You know,
Yeah, no, that's Game Pass brings stuff to Game Pass day one. So yeah, hopefully it's not just like, to be honest with you, if they even released a service that like Nintendo have on the Switch where you get a ton of older games, I'd be down for that. But they also need to work on something to match Game Pass. 100%.
Yep.
Nintendo are getting Game Pass. What are you on about?
100%. Next one up, Steven put this in. Epic lost almost $300 million last year. And this is mainly down to buying exclusives for the platform and giving away free games and all this nonsense. However, we don't have it in this list of new stuff. They also just got $1 billion of funding from somewhere. So I don't think
200 million of which is PlayStation.
yeah, so I don't think they're too upset.
No. Their whole plan is to disrupt the market anyway, so
Exactly.
know,
You don't
it's not
disrupt
about
the
making money
market.
at the moment.
Exactly. You don't disrupt the market by making money. You disrupt it by spending money.
Yeah, free game
Next,
Thursday. Don't forget.
Free game Thursday. I don't know what it is.
today?
I don't know what it is.
Devil May Cry 5.
I'll look it up in a second what it is. Final Fantasy Remake Intergrade got a price, I think it was. So we got
Yep.
some new
It's
screenshots.
not like €20 or something.
Yeah, it's
is it?
like 20 quid, yeah. So there's some
And
new
it's
screenshots. It's called Intergrade.
No, it's
Intermission. Intermission is what the
Yeah.
chapter's called.
yeah.
But yeah, it's out in June on June 10th for $20, so that would be €20 and like £17.50 roughly, I guess. Anyway, they'll go play it because it's amazing.
I
The
know,
screenshots
I really
look so
need to.
nice though. Look, this looks so
really need
nice.
to.
I'm really looking forward to playing through it again. Next up, PlayStation 5 got its first big update. It's got improvements to HDR and 120 Hz support. It allows you to store games on an external drive, but not play them, which is kind of dumb. But you can do it because of reasons. But yeah,
It
goes
makes
down.
sense with the SSD.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
does. It does. It does. If you're one of the 10 people in Ireland who owns a PlayStation 5 or 20 people in the UK because you've got a bigger population, go update your PS5. And the last bit that came out today was that Days Gone, which was previously announced to be coming to PC, now has its release date, which is May 18th. And it is coming to both Steam and the Epic Game Store for all you fake PC gamers. I haven't played Days Gone. It got
No.
mediocre reviews. That's what I look like on a Saturday morning. But yeah, it got mediocre reviews. But did you notice that? Seeing as we're now not getting a Days Gone 2, that everyone thinks it's the best game ever made. I don't know how that happened, but it did. It did.
It went from 0 to hero.
Yeah, just because we're not getting a sequel. But that's really all of the news.
They should just remake it.
Just remake it.
Oh,
Yeah, I never played it either. Like,
No, I have it because it was part of PS Plus at one stage and it's part of the collection. But I've never played it. I might give it a shot eventually. Probably not. Can I actually just
Put on the
say,
backlog.
speaking of PlayStation, Louise played what's the game that comes free with the PlayStation 5 called? With the little dude.
Oh.
Oh, with the which?
With the little dude.
Oh, the Astro Bot.
Astro's
Oh,
Playroom. Oh man, she was blown away by it.
Yeah,
'Cause,
Cassie
like,
loves them as well. They're really cool, apparently.
But like it with the haptic feedback on the controller, like it's amazing. It really is.
That game nearly got Deirdre to actually play it because I was like, "Oh, try the controller," and she's like,
Yeah.
"Why did I try the controller? It's weird." And then she tries like, "This is cool."
It's
like,
really cool.
Kinda, yeah.
Yeah.
So nearly got her into it. Nearly.
Yeah. And like you use like the touchpad, like you run your finger along it to zip something up or to pull back on a string. It's really, really cool. Yeah.
Blow
I
into
played
the
that
mic
in
and everything.
VR only, and that was really cool because you're saying you're interacting with the controller on the screen, and you're using that to carry the little Astros and to flick them.
Do you
out
still
and
play
stuff like
your VR?
that. No, my uncle has it for my godson.
I've been tempted to get an Oculus or a Vive.
Yeah, I'd say it's a better investment on
PC.
on PC, 100%.
I couldn't stomach the price of the Steam one, which I can't remember the name of because I'm terrible.
That was Oculus, wasn't it?
No, that's the Google one or the Facebook one.
Oh, the Vive.
No, it's HTC Vive. The Steam one is the I can't think of the name of it, but it's like 1,300 quid. It's too much. It's double the price of my graphics card. You're all right, thanks.
Yeah.
I just can't think of the name of it off the top of my head. Yeah, it's something
Steam VR.
I've been considering. Steve will get it now in 2 seconds.
Yeah.
And I'll slap myself for not knowing what it was.
Oh, it must be dead. Even Steam aren't bringing it up anymore.
God's sake. It is called the Index.
The Index. Oh, there is
Wouldn't
way
have
down.
guessed
The Valve Index. But yeah, it's cost too much. I even think that the HTC Vive is quite expensive, but yeah, I'm half considering it. I probably won't.
If it was ever 50% off, I'd get it.
Yeah, oh yeah.
500 quid, I'd jump in.
Just wait till November, Black Friday.
Black Friday. Yeah, that's all the news really this week and anything this week.
That was a good one.
I'm tired.
Oh, actually, before we go, Cyberpunk got the 1.21 patch.
It did.
And I'm now playing it in 60 frames per second.
I did notice that. I was actually meant to ask you the other day, did the improvements to stability help get you to 60? And
yeah, so it's low 60s now, and I'm not in a heavily dense area. But I've
basically
noticed
that's what I played it at the whole way through, yeah.
Yeah. But I've
That's
noticed
good.
a good improvement now.
Yeah, the 1.2.1 patch had a crazy amount of fixes though as well for 0.1. So they're working hard. Hopefully they can get it into a state where it is playable for the majority of gamers.
So I'm looking forward to getting back into that now.
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
Very
Eventually.
good. Very good.
You'll finish Cyberpunk and I'll finish Final Fantasy. And Kev won't finish Last of Us 2.
No.
And we'll see you next week.
No, do you know what it is? There was a couple of days last week I was like, I might play The Last of Us. Like, I'll just do 1 or 2 more Dynamax Adventures and then I'll play it. And then 3 hours had gone and I was still doing Dynamax Adventures.
That's like me with Monster Hunter now, and I'm like,
Yes.
I just want to play PlayStation, and then no Monster Hunter, and I'm playing a handheld as well, so it's like it's great having the TV on in the background. I haven't played it docked at all.
That's what I do when I'm doing Dynamax stuff. I have it in my hand and I have some on the telly.
But the Monster Hunter, like, is that? And are you playing with the Joy-Cons connected, or
I'm playing it with
controller?
the standard Joy-Cons, and
Okay.
for me especially, like I did find it hard at the start with the combinations and stuff like that, but it's very straightforward. It does get a bit annoying when you're. What is it? It's not. I think it's when you're bringing up your shortcut wheel. That's when it kind of gets a bit annoying. But other than that,
I don't use that.
Yeah, it's fine.
I just keep ORBing until I get what I want.
Yeah,
explains a lot.
And like I've just been playing it in handheld, and it looks great. So I can imagine like docked, just that with that extra bit of power and the frames go up that extra 2.
Extra 2 frames a second.
Yeah.
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 So yeah, as always, the links to all of the news articles will be in the description below. I do remember to do that. In fairness, they're always there. Not that anyone reads them,
But this time they'll be there with a Spotify link.
The Spotify link's there as well, but the playlist link will be there, and the video of the guy shredding stuff in Sekiro. Holy shit, it's crazy watching that video. Like, I was blown away. If there was ever a case for Sekiro not needing an easier mode, there it is.
Yeah, that doesn't have an easy mode, doesn't it? Yeah, I'm not playing.
There was a lot of that
was the controversy.
It was like, a game never suffered from not having an easy mode. It's like, shut the fuck up. Like, the developers get to make what they want to make. Like, shut up. Basically,
they're building the experience for you to play it.
Exactly. If they thought their game would benefit from an easy mode, they do it. But that's not their target audience.
Not their demographic.
Yeah, it's not the demographic. If you want to watch it, go on Twitch. Someone's playing it. Yeah. Anyway, that's my toxic take for Thursday. Let developers do what they want to do. It's the most pro developer toxic opinion ever. Let artists make art, and non-artists shut the hell up.
You'll enjoy this experience or not. I don't care.
Remember the days where we used to just enjoy games and not complain about them endlessly?
I still do that. That's why I don't play a lot of these Bloodborne ones, because I don't want to bang my head against the wall.
Yeah, it's a target audience. It's like how I won't play Monster Hunter. It's not my kind of game.
Exactly.
And that's absolutely fine.
Imagine agreeing on that.
Imagine agreeing on anything. I feel like we have to disagree on something just to end the podcast. Fallout 76 was shit.
Hard agree.
No, it is. Yeah.
Damn it!
I won that with GameStop.
That's true, actually. Yeah, you won it. Yeah. You won it.
I stopped playing it by the time I'd won
it. Right. I'm going to sit here quietly and let someone wrap it up. Thank you for listening to my
You were away
ramblings.
last week.
Appreciate you.
I'm getting the bully treatment here, haven't I?
Don't go away again.
Yeah, sorry. I've got family.
Don't go away, Matt. Just go away.
Go away. I think that has been episode 12. Thank you for listening and tuning in. And apologies for keeping you 2.5 hours later.
It's 2-1-2.
Here we are. 2-1-2. There we go. It's a great song. I'll be playing Monster Hunter
on the Uptown
for the foreseeable future. I'll be playing WoW, and I will be playing Apex. So until next week, you'll hear me talking about that.
Yeah,
bye.
And you now have our Twitter handles right there. Go look us up. Go annoy us. Don't follow me. Follow the podcast Twitter, because we would appreciate you. Love you. Bye.
Like and subscribe.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.